Hello everybody, Practical Prepper here from the Practical Prepping blog, the URL of which is at the bottom of the screen as usual. Well, I just got back from my hiking vacation out west. We visited, after going to Las Vegas, we went to Utah, Wyoming, and Colorado and did a bunch of hiking. Got some interesting video for you, which we'll probably share with you on a later date. One of the things I did when I got back, by the way, the vacation was glorious. That's God's country out west. Don't know what I'm doing in South Florida, but we'll try to rectify that in a few years. Anyway, my personal matters aside, when I came back, I checked some of the YouTube comments and the comments on the Practical Prepping blog, and I found this interesting question about my Kel-Tec SU-16CA. By the way, of all the articles I've published on the blog and the videos I've published on YouTube, this particular weapon system right here seems to garner the most interest, and that's interesting. It's actually a really good weapons platform. We're going to be talking about it a little bit more in the future. I've got another video I want to film right after this one about an interesting means of conveyance, of carrying this weapon around that you might be interested in. So enough about that. We'll tease that enough. We'll talk about that later. But as a little bit of a review to reintroduce my Kel-Tec, so I've made some changes to it since the last video. It's standard Kel-Tec SU-16CA, right? 16-inch barrel. It holds AR-15 magazines, and I guess we should do the obligatory safety check, should we not? No magazine. Right there. And the chamber is empty. Very good. 223, 556 capable. Either one. This thing has a 556 NATO barrel. It has a Picatinny rail up on top here. It's got a full stock, unlike the SU-16C, which has kind of like a skeleton stock, which I didn't really care for. This one actually holds two 10-round magazines, which are kind of nice, and you can store them fully loaded in there. So no matter what you've got in a magazine well, you've always got 20 more rounds of 223 or 556 right here in the stock, should the situation warrant. What else do we have here? It is foldable. It's got a well, back to this direction here. Got a single point sling on it. I do a lot of practical shooting and carbine matches, and the single point sling works really well. It's the only place I've found to actually attach one. I'd like it a little bit further up on the weapon, but we're working on that. Right now it's right here, and we'll deal with that. The takedown pin is right here, and this is the subject of today's video. We'll talk about that in a second. But the other thing I wanted to show you, which I know is new, is the Bushnell hollow sight. The Bushnell hollow sight looks remarkably like an E-Tech, and that's because I hear tell the innards of this sight are actually manufactured by E-Tech, and you're going to see that in a second. I'm going to show you something interesting about this. Let me get the brightness here up on the reticle, and tell me if this looks familiar, those of you who are E-Tech users. There we go. Let's focus that in. There we go. If we get that, maybe it's a little bit too close. There we go. Poor autofocus. It's freaking out here. That's the, I think it's a 64 minute of angle circle. You know, 1 minute of angle dot there in the middle. Typical E-Tech reticle. This thing works terrific. I've got it sighted in at an uncarbine-like 25 yards because in the carbine matches I participate in, a lot of the man-sized targets are 25 yards away, and I like to just bring it up and go bang. If they're a little bit further on, I aim a little bit lower, and I can even hit 100-yard targets with no problem. With a reticle sighted in at 25 yards, it takes some practice, but you can do it. And I don't recommend you sighting yours in at 25 yards, but again, that's just me. Again, the subject of today's video is this takedown pin right here. We demonstrate real quick. This one has a ring on it, and that's what somebody asked me about. Hey, Practical Prepper, how'd you get the ring and the takedown pin? Well, takedown pin normally looks like this. It is a piece of milled steel, and it would fit in here, and you'd take a 223 round or a screwdriver or something you'd need to push this through. Didn't like that arrangement, so I went online and I found I would love to take credit for making this, but I didn't. A place called takedownpins.com made this takedown pin. I'll pull it out, and you can see it is a polymer pin with a hole drilled in it, and I've got a keychain ring in there, and it makes taking down the weapon a whole lot easier. And as you can see, it folds in half for ready storage, and that's the subject of my next video. But yeah, this takedown pin is from takedownpins.com. To answer the user's question, a little bit of background, there we go. And if you'd like to get one, they were actually pretty cheap. I think it was like $8 to $10 and plus shipping. Well worth the price. It makes it real easy to take down and to put it back. So again, reintroducing my Kel-Tec SU-16CA, reintroducing myself. It's been a while since I published a video, been away on vacation. And takedownpins.com. Don't make any money off of it. I just think it's a cool product. So I'm sharing it with you. For now, this is Practical Prepper saying be safe and be prepared.